That's all right. Well, just here. I think you can still talk and see if you can hear each other.
I could hear you, John. John, talk.
Oh, yeah, but we're not muted anymore.
Okay. I need to just maybe. I don't know what I need to do.
Sorry, it's a little messy in the
Okay.
back. I'm still
I'll be able to hear
unpacking.
you guys. Give me 2 seconds. You're good.
Um, okay. Wait, Matt. No, I need John. So John says he can hear me. John, Matt, keep on talking for like a few seconds, and I'm gonna
Yep.
just talk and just see if you know.
Yep. I'll keep talking.
No, Matt talking. Can you hear Matt?
I cannot hear Matt now.
Okay, so he is muted. Okay,
I
so
was mute. It appears as though you keep muting me, Tim.
okay, so it does mute everybody.
I'm
Okay,
just
so I
gonna
need to
keep
come up
on
with a different way
talking
of
until
doing
you
this.
tell me not to talk
Yep.
anymore.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
So,
I am going to put these in, and actually, you know what I'm gonna do?
Cesar
Um,
Sanchez. Also, let us call in because we got stuff to say.
okay, you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna leave you on these earbuds, and I'm gonna switch the other thing to my speakers and hope that they don't do the same thing because I feel like Greg. Well, I mean, I don't know. Greg is probably gonna take a minute.
He's probably
Man.
celebrating.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So you guys are live. I love you
Oh,
guys. I'm gonna
I see
remove.
the chat.
Sweet.
Oh, we're live.
I will
That
see.
that that's Tim's
Have we
implication
been
telling
have
us
we
the
been live
chat.
this whole time?
Yeah, we've been
Yes.
live this whole time. What's up, guys? There's 7 people. I'm watching the stream. We got
Oh, I
Cesar
I have nothing
Sanchez.
on my end that shows me that. Oh, there we go.
There, we're
Why does Matt
totally.
get to be big?
I don't know. No,
All
it's
right.
just whoever's talking. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Messi loses to
Like,
real shooters. That's way too real. That's way too
bruh,
real.
Dean Redmond, where you at? Did you
Oh
tweet something,
man.
John?
I said we were about to go live. Let me go ahead and actually share this now that it's up. We keep that.
Blazing
Keep the
speed.
streets ready.
Let's go. So true. What are these little crowns next to our fans' names? Oh, they're like XP, like whoever talks the most. That's
Like,
cool.
yeah, well, start talking, earn some XP,
Yeah,
fellas.
we gotta do more streams.
I gotta post this on Blue
John, what
Sky.
do you think? If it's a away game watch party live stream?
That is Tim and I were talking about that earlier. If
Yeah, we
although at
should.
this point, right now, right now
Yeah, no,
it's a
we're
home,
tuning
it's
out.
a home game, right?
So
Yeah, if that is an away draw, then Tim might be in Columbus, but yeah, we could definitely.
I mean, low key, I would go to Columbus for that game.
Okay,
Like
well then how are
the
we
way
gonna
we're
do it
playing on
then?
the road and the way that we just saw Columbus play, like I'd go to that game in a heartbeat. Columbus away was fun.
I think the bigger thing right now is honestly feels like I, if I'm Columbus, I'm worried I have to come back to Chicago, right? Like there's a very, very real chance they don't make it out of the 9 seed.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Especially, I don't know what their injury situation is in terms of like where their players at are in the recovery process, but if they put out that 11 again against a Chicago team that in theory, should win their next 2 games, because now there's something on the line. Like they're 1 point behind Orlando, 2 points behind Nashville, 2 points behind Nashville and Charlotte for the sixth spot, fifth spot rather. They're gonna kick butt. Who is it? Do we have Toronto and New England? Yes.
Yeah, Toronto home, New England away. Which New England away is weird because if you're playing in the play-in, you have a game 4 days after that. You're playing the following Wednesday. So I do feel like it makes sense. You're probably resting some guys against New England, even though it's off a bye week. It's a very weird juxtaposition of games. Let's see what else we got in the chat
Yeah,
right
and
now. Hold on. Sam Soto, Dean Masterclass, Gutierrez Galazzo, playoff spot secures, and a W over the Pink Phony Club. That's well put. That's well put. I,
yeah,
Matt, and talk like, dude, talk about unlikely heroes. That was the 5 things that we did this weekend from that Columbus game was like this is a team of unlikely heroes, and then if I had told you Justin Reynolds was going to score the winner today, what are you slapping me or pushing me down a flight of stairs?
I'm probably throwing you off a plane if I'm honest. I don't think anyone expected, and I think collectively, like the odds of those four goal scorers actually getting the goals, it's like plus a million if we're honest. I mean, Davia alone, yeah,
100%.
he's got a goal. He's playing the sixth though. You don't expect it. Kwame and his kind of like he's Kwame. He hasn't played that much, and then
Super random, right? Like, why are you starting? And then, okay, great goal. Like,
it's almost like Greg knows better than us Twitter warriors, if we're honest. But then obviously the Reynolds one is the one I'll admit it. Like 5 minutes before that, I was kind of like Reynolds, two throw-ins, not good.
I I will not
God.
lie. My wife was sitting in the room with me, and I literally go, "Oh no." She goes, "What?" I said, "They're bringing on Justin Reynolds." And all the credit, he like, look, he started off shaky. He finished the game
Yeah,
well. I mean, the goal was obviously nice, right place, right time, but like
yeah.
he did play well for the remainder of the shift after that.
No, Tim said in a group chat that we're in because Fire fanatics. He's like, guys, he's played like 2 games all season. You got to let him settle in. And you're right. He had a really good read on that goal. He didn't have to make that back post run that he made, and it was a perfect run. I think Pineda was on the assist. Yes, did I get that
Yeah,
right?
that was Pineda.
So it's good to see that the impact substitutions, the Chicago boys came in and actually made an impact and won that game. Because Pineda and Reynolds are not the first two guys off your bench. Um,
No.
but that is, in my opinion, the signs of a good team is when your lower bench guys. I mean, all respect to Pineda and Reynolds. They're obviously fantastic players, but on this
Yeah.
bench, the lower bench, they came in against Messi in Miami after conceding 2 goals,
Yeah, man.
and went and produced a win. Like truly, like that is a fantasy performance right there.
Yeah, man. The resilient. I mean, how many times have we talked about this team being mentally weak, right? Because there have been times throughout the year, like they just don't show up for games.
Yeah.
And then biggest moment shows up. Dude, I didn't even realize this. I'm looking at the Foot Mob ratings right now because I was kind of curious to see where everything wound up with a 9.5 and 3 assists. Martin Haile Selassie, insane performance from Martin. I didn't even realize he had 3 assists.
No, he's, obviously Bamba and Zinkernagel are solid starters. Zinkernagel is one of the best players in the league, and Bamba is, for all intents and purposes, a solid starter. But Marin Haile Selassie, if there was a six man of the year award for the MLS, I mean, he's got to be up there. I feel like every time he's come on in a high leverage situation, he's produced in some capacity, whether it's a goal, an insurance goal, or laying on an assist, or in this case, coming in full 90 after not starting for a couple games and producing 3 assists. Dude's a dog, and we're really lucky that he's, at least for now, staying here, not getting starting minutes when he could probably go to a lower MLS team, via in-league
Oh man.
trade and start most of those games. But it's guys like that you need to go really, really far in the playoffs, and that shows in how we performed today.
Yeah, man. I mean, you look at what four of the. I mean, the Zinkernagel one is a little weird, right? Because obviously he was getting a little bit of rest, so him for Kwame is a little weird. 3 of the 4 subs made in the second half that were real subs were guys who were starters early in the year, right?
Yeah.
Seeing
Mhm.
or yeah, 3 or 4. Well, I guess Kellen started the year as a sub. He didn't, that tapered off pretty quickly. But Mauricio's made 17 starts this year. Guti's made like 23, 24, something like that. So I mean, you all of a sudden have this bench with the guys who are A, young, fresh, smart players, but B, have a wealth of starting experience, or a guy like Mauricio who maybe hasn't started a ton in MLS, but he played 150 games. Like this, he's not some random scrub off the bench. He's an MLS quality center midfielder, right? Which is
Absolutely.
kind of cool to say because I don't know that we would have said that a year ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and Mari's a guy, in my opinion, the Fire should lock up for life. He's
Oh
a
yeah,
guy who's kind of reached, he's got to be what, 20? He's a few years older than me. I think he's around your age, 29, 30-ish by now,
I
maybe a
think
little
he's
younger.
28. I can Google
Yeah.
that really quick, actually.
And I feel like he's hit a ceiling, and a ceiling is, it's like you mentioned, a quality MLS player, guy they should lock up, homegrown.
He's
He's the best.
27.
Ulare in chat, you guys worried about Franco? That was going to be my next talking point. I think the question is, what's going to go on with Mr. Andre, and what do the Fire do if he goes down with a long-term injury, especially when it comes to picking up his contract or not.
I don't want to be already a Debbie Downer, but like, guys, I would say there's probably a 0% chance we see Andre Franco, Jonathan Bombo, or Hugo Kuipers start in Toronto. Like, especially after the knock, and probably the same for Jonathan Dean, to be honest, because we don't know what's going on with Leo Barroso. Tim, welcome back. How you doing? We're
Hey.
talking about the Franco injury. If you have anything to
Yeah,
share.
did someone ask about Franco
I've been listening
in
in
the
for a
press
minute,
conference?
and I may have to dart in a second because the press conference still hasn't happened, and obviously one of the topics is going to have to be, what happened to him, what happened to Dean. But I agree with what you were saying, John. Just in terms of like, I think the plan was to rotate in this game, and that's why we saw what looked like a very questionable lineup. Although right now, Greg Berhalter looks like the greatest genius in the history of the sport. And I think the plan was you rotate for this game and then, go hard against Toronto and try to get the 3 points there. And now that calculation has probably changed a little bit just with what happened in this game.
I think you got to rest Hugo against Toronto. If you saw him,
100%.
honestly, the last 25 minutes of the game, man, he was running on fumes pretty much the back end of the second half. It's time at bare minimum to give him. I think you probably see Zink start just because he didn't play the whole the whole match. But like Tim said, now that they clinched, which I imagine Greg Berhalter has full belief in his team, but he probably wasn't anticipating clinching here when not starting Zinkernagel. So maybe John, you're right. He won't start, but we'll see. I'd still like to win that game, the Georgi Mihailovic game.
Oh, agreed. And
you don't think that there was a Justin Reynolds game winner in the plan that he wrote down?
Dude.
No, we talked about that, and we also talked about, and I own it, Tim, how a few minutes before in the group chat, I'm like, Justin Reynolds, gotta lock in some bad throw-ins, and you were the one that calmed me down and said he's played 2 games all day or all year, or however many games he's played. Let him lock in, and sure enough, Tim, you're right again. He locked in. John and I were talking about how
that's also not what I said at all, by the way. So
I'm paraphrasing. Okay, I'm totally paraphrasing. It seems a little bit more formal than that, if I'm honest. But we were talking about how like the 2 Chicago boys who would not be the first options off the bench came on and made an impact that eventually won the game, which is a sign of a team that is starting to kind of connect the dots and show who they really are. If you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just saw it in the chat. Bamboy70 asked, has Franco had injury problems most of his time at Porto? Do we think we saw a glimpse of that today? Just for the record, like, Tim, maybe you have other information on this? Like, no, he just was not. Like, not that he had no injuries there, right? But you look at the 24-25 season, he started 4 games. He appeared, I think, upwards of 15 times. Like, he just wasn't quite up to the quality of starting at the biggest club in Portugal.
Yeah, and one of the biggest clubs in Europe, right? That's like, sort of not in a top 5 league. And that's just what it is, right?
Just an update here. We are waiting for
Tim, drop your game,
Miami's head coach to finish off his.
Sorry, I think you guys can hear an announcement right now.
Conference in the same space. Once that is over, we'll move on to Chicago Fire FC head coach Greg Berhalter. Thank you very much for
figuring out those kinks first.
This is what happens when we have to do it live, guys.
This is what happens when we're multitasking in a way that we've never multitasked before. So yeah, look, it's. I can't remember where we were with this.
Tim, pause. Drop your gain a little bit.
Oh yeah, it did adjust the gain as soon as I switched over to Zoom. Yeah. I think that the thing is that he wasn't playing in Porto, and so it's a little hard to say with the injury trouble, right? Like before he moved to Porto, that the season that earned him the move, he played virtually every game, and but like I don't know how much you want to adjust for that. But regardless, this, depending on the kind of injury history doesn't necessarily matter. Some stuff just comes up, and like a history with it doesn't necessarily predict anything, or a lack of history of it doesn't predict anything either.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, shoot, man. I see, again, shout out Sam in the chat. Kouame's a 1/2 player, which fair enough. He has this knack to score in small amount of times. Somebody else said he had 12 touches in a 45-minute shift and pulled a goal and an assist off of that, which is an insane thought. But yeah, incredible performances from all the guys you need it from if you're going to go far. To Matt's point there, but even the fringe of Jonathan Dean, who now all of a sudden you hope he's not hurt, right? That did not look like a great moment for him pulling a groin, maybe as he slid into the boards there.
Yeah. Yeah, it hopefully, right, like, because he's, it looks like Barroso's out, and depending on the severity of the injury, that looks like it could be something that would be, for the rest of 2025, regardless of how long that is, for the Fire. And just that there was a question in the chat, what's the highest position the Fire could finish? Mathematically, they could go as high as third. That is virtually impossible
I'm
because it would
sorry.
require all of the teams between where the Fire are and there to just drop every single point that's available between now and then. Realistically, they have maybe like a roll of a die chance at most, like pick a number, like if it lands on a 1, if it lands on a 6, whatever your favorite number is on that, of making it to 7th, which would get them directly into the first round of the playoffs. It would give them a lengthy break to get guys recovered and healthy. And I think that would be the ideal scenario. But realistically, it's kind of a battle of 8th and 9th, and the Fire are, fighting for 8th. I mean, realistically, like, they're good, like a very good chance of making it, and hosting that wild card game.
Yeah, you need pretty significant help just to get out of the play-in, right? Realistically, you're not going to catch Nashville. They have the edge in wins, and they're like just too far ahead. You look at Orlando's remaining schedule; they're playing Columbus this week, Vancouver next week during the international window, and then they have Toronto on decision day. So you need some help there, right? They still have a game in hand over the Fire. It's a weird situation though, because you don't control your own destiny, but I don't think Toronto's or Orlando's getting 9 points out of their next 9, right? And did we lose Matt? I think we lost Matt.
Yeah, it looks like we lost Matt, so you may have to vamp for a little while. I'm sorry, because I may have to
Yeah.
drop pretty soon. Miami, their Chase Nay Drew Prink Stadium is kind of unique in that there's really only one place they can hold a press conference, so they do one and then the other. And so right now the report I've got is Joe Chats is in the very, very, very back of the press conference room.
Shout out Joe
who knows?
Chats.
It could clear out as soon as Mascherano leaves.
Yeah.
But like that's part of why it's taking longer than it normally does.
Yeah, that's just a really great stadium for them. The cool thing, shout out Joe Chats, by the way. I didn't catch it on the broadcast, probably because of all the tweeting and excitement. Jonathan Dean using the goal celebration the very end of the goal celebration to announce he and his wife are expecting a child. So shout out to them. Very exciting time as there's a new Dean entering the world at some point soon. Do you think they're going to name it Dean? Dean? What are thoughts, Tim?
I mean, hopefully not, but
yeah, absolutely. Ulare popping up. Joe does great
just,
reporting. He does.
Maybe it's just Jonathan Dean Sr. to mess with people.
I don't know. That would require me buying new jerseys, actually, because then I'd have to get Dean Sr. printed on the back. Yeah, only 2 points off Nashville and Charlotte. But both play. Oh. Yeah, ranks only 2 points off. Ranks 39 said we're only 2 points off Nashville and Charlotte, but they both play non-playoff teams next. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is realistically you're catching Orlando just because of the wins tiebreaker. That's the first tiebreaker in MLS, and Orlando, Columbus. Like if Columbus gets up for that game, if Diego Rossi can play, we know Wissam Abu Ali won't be. If Diego Rossi can get up for that game, it's not unwinnable for Columbus. Vancouver's going to be tough no matter what because Thomas Muller will be there. And then Toronto is frisky, like Georgi Mihailovic, Jose Cifuentes, like they're not bad the way they were 3 months ago, right? So it's unlikely, but it's not impossible if you beat Toronto and New England, which I think the Toronto might be a little bit of a heavy lift there.
Yeah, Robin Frenzy had his boys rolling. That's all I gotta say. You guys can hear me now, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, cool. I mean it's but the Fire are in driving seat for 8th, which is wild. Like after the first game of the season, right, we saw how good the Fire could be in the opening few minutes, and then we just saw how good Columbus can be. Ton of injuries in Columbus, but if you had said that the Fire would be in the driving seat to finish ahead in the standings, above Columbus at the beginning of the year, I think that every Fire fan would have taken that. I mean, absolutely as a massive success.
The only downside I think of the win tonight is that Columbus does play Red Bull on decision day, so you don't really know what you're getting from Red Bull anymore now that they're officially, eliminated from playoff contention. But I mean, those are two. I mean, just as I'm saying,
And is
Orlando could
Klopp
lose both
actually
games.
secretly coaching them between matches? Who knows? He's in the second.
Maybe.
He's like in one of the boxes, and you see him on his phone.
Yeah. Oh, I see a lot of Jimmy Deans popping off in the comments when we talk about the child of the expected child of the Dean family. I I think we're gonna do something about that soon. But I was reading up on the history of Jonathan Dean at Birmingham Legion. You guys know they called him Hot Links? Called him Hot Links. I don't know how that didn't make it here. That's a great nickname.
Well, you're bringing it here. It
Eh.
can happen.
Sounds like a good swag opportunity, if you ask me.
Ooh, I like that. I like
Jimmy,
that.
little Jimmy Dean.
You guys
What?
I literally got a text from Matt as he said, sounds like a merch opportunity. Should we make a shirt? I love that. Yes, we should. Give us a W
Yeah,
in the give us a
let us
hot
know
links
in
in the
chat.
chat if you would buy a hot
Yeah.
link shirt.
Yeah. Also, going back to seating, I know that there's probably at least a 5% contingency of our fan base that wants the Fire to play away in that wild card due to having
Yeah.
9 road wins, and that's really, really terrifying to me. I feel like I might be part of that contingency, low key. I can't lie.
I don't know that I want it, but I don't feel scared about going on the road.
Okay,
And
that's
this
fair.
actually Ranks 39 said, now that we've reached the playoffs, what's the biggest moment or surprising trend / statistic, et cetera, that sticks out to you from this season? Honestly, I think like there's an argument this is the best road team in MLS history, right? Given how poor the road form was or the home form was, they have the second most goals. They have a chance to have the most road goals, depending on how that game in New England goes in a single season. Like, I think there's a real argument that the 2025 Chicago Fire are the best road team we've ever seen in MLS.
Certainly the best Fire road team in history. I think the improvement, right? Because you're dealing with a team that already has 21 more points than they did last year. If they get 21 more points than that again, like that's supporter shield almost automatically, like best team in history. Which obviously the next 21 points are harder, but you look at some of the games where the team dropped points, and maybe it's not as unrealistic as like maybe that sounds. I mean, that's still like obviously a very tall lift, but I mean, improving that much, right? Like it's 70% more points already, and there's 2 more games remaining. That is just an insane season on season improvement.
Yeah. The other thing, sorry, Matt, then I'll let you talk. But the other thing is, I think there was a single 10-goal scorer last year. Let me pull up 2023 really quick because I want to see for my own sake. Marin Haile Selassie led the 2023 Chicago Fire in scoring with 6 goals. In 2024, it was Hugo Kuipers with 10. This year, Hugo Kuipers 17 goals. Philip Zinkernagel 14 goals. Brian Gutierrez 9 goals. That's insane. You have 3 more players, excuse me, who are over double digits in assists. Like, it's just an insane turnaround in a single year in terms of offensive production.
Yeah. And the goals for, right? Like that's just like that trend of like the Fire being.
Ulari in the chat asks a really interesting question. Is this team better than the 16-17 team? Who would win? What are your thoughts?
Who's
John,
playing? Who's the home
You
team?
saw the team, right?
Yeah. Well, who's the home team, Matt? That's what I want to know. Is who's playing on the
I
road?
mean, they're both in Chicago, so I guess they're both.
Yeah, but are they playing at Soldier Field or SeatGeek?
I mean, I guess it's an important. Let's say North Central College in Naperville. How about that? Neutral field.
North Central College. Let me look back at something.
If you know, you know. That's all I'm saying.
The 2016 or the 2017? That's the question here.
The 4-0 loss to Red Bulls in the playoffs team. The last team we made.
2017. That's.
Yeah. Did it occur to anyone else that this?
Go ahead.
Tim, we can hear you.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry, yeah, I've got to mute something else, which is difficult to do. So the like this is kind of a very long-term payback off of that 2017 team, because that was sort of like the coming out game for Tyler Adams, who was very young and on that squad. The Fire had a really good team that year, and the Red Bulls just completely bulldozed them in that one playoff game. And now the Fire have knocked the Red Bulls out of the playoffs and are back in. And it's the first time they were saying on Soccer Wise earlier today, first time since Red Bull Arena opened, that team will not be in the playoffs. Anyways, I will be back in a couple minutes.
Screw you,
Um,
Bradley Wright
yeah,
Phillips. That's all I gotta say. I remember when you scored against us. This wins for you, Bradley Wright Phillips. Okay.
yeah, I see ranks in the chat saying that team couldn't contain this tech. That's literally what I was going to say. Is like you look at that 2017 team. It was Nikolic and Akam, and then after that, it's like okay, like in the attack, I should say, right? You look at this team. You have five different guys who can go get you a goal at any given moment, and that I don't even know if that's counting Jonathan Bamba, who, man, Matt, I don't know how you feel about this. I texted Tim during the game. It's like the closer you watch, the more impressive Jonathan Bamba is. He's not scoring goals, unfortunately, but he is doing everything else you want a guy who's making $5 million a year to do.
Totally, and I think that obviously fans are going to be critical of him. They've been critical of him in the chat, saying uh, Marin's greater than Bamba, but I feel like almost Bamba's designed to play in a way that's not going to result in a lot of goal contributions, and in a way, I think that's okay. One, because you're right, he's just a little bulldog. He's everywhere on the pitch. He has gotten better as the year goes on. I still think he's not perfect compared to our Prince Zinkernagel, who is definitely perfect. But and even then, like 9 goal contributions on the seasons, I think 5 goals, 4 assists. He probably should have a few more. He's definitely missed a few sitters throughout the season.
He
And
missed one tonight.
oh yeah, he did. Yeah, oh my goodness. But that was a nice save by
Oh, Matt, for the reference, he has 10 assists, so he's got 15 goal
he's
contributions this
all
year.
on all competitions, or he's 10 assists.
This is in league play. I'm looking at MLS.com right now.
Wow. Okay. So in that case, it's definitely a success because you're right. What he brings off the ball and what he brings like not in the goals and assists is really, really prevalent. And I know people are gonna not rate that as highly because at the end of the day, you get judged by how many goals and assists you score. And Marin, every time he's on the pitch, largely seems to make that happen. But situationally, I think Bamba's a really good fit on the line and helps Zinkernagel and Kuipers and the rest of the boys improve their own goals and assists collectively. And then Marin comes on and he's that wing back that winger, whatever you want to call him, that will go and get those goals. So you'd like to
100%.
see him next year probably build those goals up a little bit. If Bamba gets anywhere close to 10 goals and Hugo's going into a contract year and Zinkernagel's still 31 years old, who knows what the ceiling of this team could be. And that is also not incorporating if the Fire go back to the 3-3 model and throw in another DP into the mix, which is exciting to think about.
I mean, man, like that, the beauty of it is like you don't need with the emergence of Andre Franco, you don't need Jonathan Bamba to score goals.
Totally.
Like it would be great, right? But like
Yep.
if you're telling me he's going to get 10, 15 assists, assuming he improves a little bit next year, like I'll take that. Like I'll take that every day of the week as long as you're being dangerous in the right places and doing what he's been doing out of possession, right? I see, yeah, Laura, he
Who's
keeps shouting him out,
Snickerdoodle?
but he keeps there's Snickerdoodle. Where are you seeing
Fanboy
Snickerdoodle?
70. He just isn't worthy of $5 million a year, especially if Kuipers. Oh, it's Zinkernagel. He's just
Oh, see, that's the
Snickerdoodle.
thing though, right? Is like
Also, good
the
shirt on
thing
there.
you have
Yeah.
to remember about MLS specifically is like it doesn't matter if he's making $2.5 million a year or $5 million a year. I mean, yeah, it sucks you can't buy him down, but it doesn't matter once you get above that DP threshold, which you were always going to be at with his transfer fee. Like it kind of doesn't matter if that makes
Yeah.
sense, right? Like it does. Like it. I agree with you in theory. I think in effect you're getting 15 goal contributions and incredible play in between the boxes from your DP, and you can't ask for too much more than that, right? I mean, in total, he's 4 goal contributions behind Hugo Kuipers. When you put it in that perspective, Hugo Kuipers 19, 17, and 2 this year. Like he's not that far behind Hugo, who I think we would all agree is fairly paid and fairly thought of in that respect.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. Yeah, at the bare minimum, he's more of a positive than a negative in that front line. I think, all in all, I would probably give his first season in MLS a B. I think that's a fair assessment of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, $5 million is a lot of money, but also not our money. So I don't really care.
Exactly. And like part of the reason he's making 5 million too, right, is like that's about what he was making in Europe. Like
Yeah.
part of the reason his transfer fee was as low as it was because his salary was high and they were just trying to get him off the books because they couldn't afford him, right? So that's where it's like, yeah. And also, as Caesar points out, he did score on Real Madrid immediately before joining the Fire. So not nothing. And it was a little bit of a banger too. I will say that. Caesar did ask as well, Matt, I'll let you riff on this, because you haven't been on the show at all lately. What do we think of the back five over the back four as we move forward? And it feels like, prior to tonight, it was really more a back three. It was like a 3-4-3, and in possession, it was like a 3-2-5. Tonight, it did feel more like a 5-4-1, a 5-2-3. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, I like Berhalter's mentality of having multiple systems. It's something that's new to us. I remember we always just criticized Frankie Klopas for running out the same formation, and it showed a lack of tactical ingenuity and understanding of your opponent. The five back, I don't think it's going to work systematically on every single team. I also don't think we necessarily put out a five. Obviously, you have Christopher Cupps, who is a great young center back, but has a lot to learn. And of course, you have Omar Gonzalez, who, for all intents and purposes, is certifiably cooked. I think you need a few more pieces before you make that unit really successful to actually operate a five back. What, John?
Oh, just certifiably cooked made me laugh. I think I just lost Matt here. While I wait for Matt to get back. Yeah, look, so a couple things I'll pop in here really quick. Like thinking about that back three, we're seeing the best ball we've ever seen out of Sam Rogers, right? Important to note. Really good for Christopher Cup's development too, because he is not forced to be a starter. He can play that kind of fourth center back role, get into games, be the guy who steps up in a week off or in a short week, kind of things like that. And I think everybody just looks better, right? Andrew Gutman gets to play forward. Jonathan Dean has shown some promise. I mean, that was a nice goal, right? That was a pretty nice goal there. I did see Bamboy Bamba Sofa scored 9 goals and assists. We're going off MLS goals assists, which includes hockey assists, which I think actually says something about his style of play. You saw, and Matt is back. Welcome back, Matt. You saw in his stats from his time in Spain that like he was never the guy who made the pass. He was the guy who made the pass to the pass, which is why like you watch back this game, watch what he does out of possession and watch what he does in transition. Like he is a fantastic player, albeit overpaid, but who cares? It's a DP contract. It literally doesn't matter. I'm sorry. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Everybody seems to be on the same page that Guti should be sold. I don't know. I'm not going to get too wrapped up in off-season talk right now. This is like super exciting. And what I'd really like to see, no matter what happens with Brian Gutierrez, is him come in and make a playoff run with his whole, his boyhood squad and see what they can do. I mean, Matt, let me just toss it out there while we're being overly optimistic because it's an exciting night.
Totally.
What's the ceiling here? What do you think the ceiling is?
For this team or next year's team?
This team right now.
I mean, we talked about early how, 8 is probably the realistic spot. Let's just talk.
I mean, in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, once again, I think it depends on matchup. I think there's a route to 7. You mentioned it, I think, when I was having some internet issues, how Orlando has Columbus, who are obviously fighting for their life, and then Vancouver, who are fighting against San Diego for that 1 seed, and who are most likely going to be fighting for top seed in the West.
I think I'm losing you again.
And if the Fire went out, there's a real possibility that they do jump to 7. 7 matches up with what, 3?
It matches up with 2.
Probably going to be maybe Miami. Maybe Miami. Yeah, it's probably going to be Miami or Cincy at this rate. You probably don't get through round 1. What's that?
You're kind of popping in and out. I don't know how much I can hear you.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I think we lost Matt again. I think Ranks just said in the chat, the only team I really fear is Philly. Here's the thing: the tough thing for the Fire when you talk about the actual playoffs, not the play-in, because I think they can beat just about anybody they would be faced off against in the play-in, right? Especially Columbus, given their injury situation. The tough thing is you have to beat Philly twice, right? Let's just be as on the low end of optimistic, and let's say you are in the play-in game, you win the play-in game. You're playing Philadelphia twice. You have to beat them twice, I should say. It's not impossible, right? You get a road game, you 2 games on the road, 1 game at home. It's not impossible. I think if you get through that game, it's anybody's ball game. Like the Fire are right now 8 points out of second place in the East, which obviously not enough time left in the year to do anything about it, but that's insane, right? That's the DC result, one of the Orlandos, and maybe the original Columbus game, and you're kind of right back in it. Welcome back, Matthew. Matt, are you on a Mac?
No, I'm actually on my work computer because my Mac's dead, and I didn't know that this was happening. So we're playing with fire, no pun intended. So I apologize about that.
No, I was just saying, like, if you can, assuming they're in the play-in, and then you'd have to take on Philly because they're the 1 seed. The Fire, realistically, if you can beat Philly in 2 games, 2 of the best 2 or 3, there's not another team in the conference that should scare you. Like I in a single game, I think the Fire could beat anybody. The one team that would really worry me is Nashville because of what Nashville has done to them this year. But even then, it's like I don't know how you can't feel pretty good about your chances against virtually anybody in the East, because I want to say outside of Cincinnati and Nashville, you've beaten all these teams at this point, and Philadelphia. But yeah,
it's an interesting take. If I think about looking at the top 4 right now, it's Union, Cincy, New York, Inter. The team that I would probably want to play the most, and this is going to sound completely weird because they're number 1, like you just alluded to it, is actually the Union. If you think about it, Quinn Sullivan just tore his ACL, one of their star attacking midfielders. Yeah. New York City FC is ungodly hot right now, and Miami is going to be fucking pissed off going into the playoffs.
But they don't have legs either. That's the thing.
No, that's totally true. And if that they probably who I put second in terms of who I'd want to fight. I'm not interested in going up against Evander at Cincinnati. That team's very talented, and I think they got a lot of opportunity to go deep in the playoffs. But Philly is a team that it's a 3-game series, right? You get the away, home, away type such.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I take my chances. I think the expectation for this club, and I know, 3 wins in a row, clinch the playoffs. The ceiling is endless. In reality, like the chances they get through these top 4 seeds, probably less than 50%, and I think that's okay. Granted, if Joe, you got a rebuttal. Just hold your thought 1 sec. Like,
no, you're good.
If they get through, that's ecstatic. Then you're overachieving. Then I think if you lose in the next round, everyone's happy with the season, assuming that you get back to that spot next summer. But I don't even think some Fire fans didn't even expect to be in the playoffs this year. And I think for a large part of our fan base, we're already overachieving, and just getting back to the playoffs is suitable. That being said, continuing to overachieve is never, ever a bad thing.
Yeah. No, 100%. Sorry, I was responding to a message. I zoned out a little bit. My apologies, guys.
I'm getting some disagreements in chat. I love it. Give it to me.
We didn't play bad away at Cincy. If we had played, here's the thing. It's almost tough. Like it's hard to say, right? Because it's impossible to play. I mean, unless you somehow get the 7, you're not playing Cincy in a 3-game series, and even then, you still might not, because NYCFC could still jump them. God, yeah, it's just not. You lose Quinn Sullivan. They lose Quinn Sullivan. Miami, I think, is not going to be able to make a run because of their legs. You look at a team like, obviously, it's going to, honestly, it may just come down to, is Andre Franco healthy? Is Jonathan Dean healthy? Because if both of those guys are out, I think that kind of tanks your eyes, right? And hopefully when Tim gets back here in a sec, he'll have a little bit of info for us. So maybe we'll just try and stay on for that. But yeah, it's there's not really a good outcome. The only positive that I was going to say is, as far as I'm aware, and please guys correct me if I'm wrong, like MLS playoffs don't reseed. So hypothetically, you go beat Philly in a best of 3, you're now facing the next lowest seed, right? So it's not like you're going to have to go Philly, Cincinnati, Miami, right? You're hypothetically not getting the second best team in the East until you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. ranks with Cincy are 11th in the XG table of 41.2. They overperform by 6 goals. Yeah, I think the point here, Ranks, is like you have Kevin Danke, Evander, a pretty kind of suspect back line in some ways. Like the center backs are great. I don't really know what's going on with them at fullback anymore. You don't love having to face Kevin Danke and Evander, right? Those are like we saw tonight. It's two guys who can just take over a game and put you away without really trying.
Solentano's hurt. I'm not sure his timetable I'm getting back to, but if he was out, that would be another push in um, everyone's, let's play Cincy battle because he's obviously a good goalkeeper in MLS. And as a personal friend of mine, I hope he gets healthy. But if we do end up playing him, I
Personal
won't mind
friend.
it. Yeah, we grew up on the same street. Like that's cool. We went to high school.
I
We,
know. You
we would
always, you never let me
train
forget
at
that.
Commissioners Park in Aurora together. I was a goalie. He would kick my butt every time I shot on him. Goal saved. Truly, truly
In
great player.
Aurora? Damn.
In Aurora, yeah, Aurora, Naperville border. Yeah, that's guys were born in Naperville, raised in Naperville. Get over it. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Shout out Aurora. Shout out the 630.
That's my
We have any
that's my
cadets in the chat? We have any cadets in the chat? Shout out Marmion. Anyway.
do we have any cadets
Yeah.
in the chat? It's crazy.
But I'm just asking. You're shouting out Naperville. I'm shouting out my hometown. That's how
That's
it's gotta
true.
be.
Also, I just want to note that we got a 61%. Yes, I'd cop a Jimmy Dean hoodie. And a 39% LMAO, no Matt, you're whack on that. So the people have spoken.
You're lame if you don't want a Jimmy Dean's hoodie. Although that might be a copyright thing. So we may not actually be able to do Jimmy Dean's.
So the company's under my name. Who cares?
Get an LLC. What are they going to do? Sue us for our nothing?
Yeah, exactly. God, it's not like we're
Oh,
raining in
God.
millions of dollars.
We could be though. So
Maybe
retweet the
maybe
link,
next-
guys.
Yeah.
Maybe next time. Man, what a day. I'm still thinking about Justin Reynolds' goal. I'm thinking about two goals from the right back position, and neither of them were the guy you just paid what $2.5 million for in Leo Barroso. I'm excited with what happened Saturday now. I wonder how available he will be, but I would love to see Victor Radojevic play. That would be really, really cool personally.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, right. He's like, oh, you're U22 signing that hasn't even played and may not play by the end of the year. You know what I mean?
Uh-oh. You see that text too?
Yeah. Tim's going to be back on with an update
Yeah.
for us in a minute here.
Yeah. Hey, as soon as Tim gets back on, I have to hop off to deal with a couple things. But I don't want to leave you alone for now. So that's why I'm gonna leave. I didn't know Matt was from Nappyville. You were probably one of the snot-nosed kids in front of the bars I used to stumble on my way to fire games. Watch yourself, Willie Skyway. I know that's you. Okay? I'm not snotty or I didn't go to bars. Okay?
Well, he didn't call you snobby. He called you snot-nosed, which
Snotty, that's what I
valid.
said. I studied, okay, and worked. I was a
Yeah, we
pizza
got an Indiana University graduate over here, folks.
Go Hoosiers. We're not ready to talk
Yeah,
about
shut-
football, though, that's for sure. I'm ready
Caesar,
to
I'm
party
ready to party
Saturday.
Saturday.
Damn.
We're all
Is it
ready
a
to
home
party
game
Saturday.
No, it's not.
It is a home game Saturday.
Oh, okay. Oh, I won't be there. I'll be in Omaha, Nebraska. Sorry.
Why are you going to be in Omaha, Nebraska?
I got work. I'm a working man. I'm a working
guy's
man.
always
Gotta pay
working.
the bills.
But hey, look, talk about a working man. Talk about Hugo Kuipers. You could see it at the end there, man. He was dying. The tenacity to keep his legs under him. I thought he was going to sell that Reynolds goal. I really did. He somehow manages to keep it alive. Cannot say enough about like Georg Heitz. You did one good thing for us, and I appreciate that.
I just want to say before I add on to that incredible transition, you could tell you're a podcast host. But I mean, yeah, I was like, Starlo needs to come on, and Tim's like, auto substitutions, and I'm like, Starlo needs to come on because Hugo.
Are you guys in a group chat without me?
No, you're in the group chat.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay. Anyway, continue.
Come on, we're the. You think I do anything without Tim, without you, John?
I don't know. Anyway, you were saying Starlo coming in.
Oh, Starlo.
No subs.
Starlo coming on. Obviously, Starlo didn't come on. Hugo has deserved a game off, in my opinion.
100%. Get Shook a look up for a game, man.
Shukaluk out for a game or Starlow. Come on, like play the star. You just had
Well,
a
yeah,
kid.
you can get both of them minutes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. No, I mean, the way that he plays in Greg's system forces him to run a lot. And that's shown a lot in the last 3 games. And he's done a lot of pressing. And I think he's played, I don't know if Starlow's, subbed in at all. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure you
Not
would.
really in the last
Not really.
2 weeks.
He's put in a shift, 9 points in that shift. You go into Toronto, put in Starlow, see what we could do. Bamba, Starlow, Zinkernagel. That's the dream.
Bamba, Starlow, Zinkernagel. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see. Yeah, honestly, don't even have Hugo on the bench. Just give him the entire day off Saturday. Give him 2 weeks to get his feet under him. Get Shukaluk on a short-term call-up so he can come back in and play a little bit. I'm interested. He's having an awesome year with Fire too. I'm just excited to see what he could do. Yeah, we're waiting on Tim to come back from the press conference right now. We're
I
hopefully
think we're gonna have some terrible news about Andre Franco tomorrow. Alex Calabrese just tweeted.
Yeah, Greg just informed us a couple minutes ago. He said thoughts and prayers for Franco and what he could be going through. So,
Oy. All right.
I think we all. I mean, again, not to speculate too much. I think we all saw the part of his body that Franco was touching that, like, it was hurting when he was going off, and we know what that can mean for a player. So again, we don't know yet, and a lot of the time things cannot be as bad as they look.
Yeah.
Totally. On that sad note, gentlemen, I have to hop off to manage a couple things as I just moved into a new apartment. But it's been a pleasure chatting with you. We should do this again sometime.
Thanks, buddy. Good
Love
to see you,
guys.
Matt. Craig, I don't think Franco is going to die. He may just have a bit of a knock. The other side of the coin, though, if we're going to talk happy things and not sad things, is if that is the case, it does open up a lane for Brian Gutierrez, right? Which is exciting. We saw that incredible goal, a good overall performance from him tonight in relief of Andre Franco. 20 minutes, but a very solid 20 minutes. And look, we know what he can do. He was playing some of the best ball of his career before Franco joined in that starting 11. So assuming we see Brian Gutierrez back to that starting role moving forward, the nice thing is you're not as worried about it, right? I mean, you feel pretty good about Brian Gutierrez being able to perform at a high level in the MLS playoffs.
Yeah. And obviously Franco is here on a loan. I think that what the Fire have seen from him already is enough to make it worth keeping him around and give him that security.
100%.
And I mean, not just Gutierrez, right? Like we saw like how long it has been. I think that the last start for Martin Highlights Lost It was back in June against Nashville, and that was not a good game for anyone. So that's not on him at all. And Greg told us that he was man of the match tonight, and just to see that turnaround of a guy that had not been given the opportunity for such a long time, I think is really something, right? And it just shows how deep this squad is. The number of guys that didn't really get as many minutes as we would have thought, and the Fire are still performing like they did. I think it's just, it says a lot about like next man up mentality is like a cliche. It's said too often and very seldom meant, but like we saw the Fire digging and making that happen tonight.
100%. And we talked about Justin Reynolds. I mean, Tim, I don't even know I didn't realize this until I looked at the score sheet. Martin 3 assists tonight, which is outstanding work from him.
MLS only has him credited with 2 at the moment, but yeah, he had an assist on the opening goal that was Jade Avalos, and then the Kwame goal, and I believe that's it. Officially, right? Because they're the ones that get to tally it, but still, it's that sometimes does change.
Regardless, an outstanding game from him. I mean, the other thing, you talk about resilience. This team lost 2-1 to San Diego. What was that? July 12th. They've lost twice since then, right? That is over 3 months or 2 months, 2 months and some change maybe, of outstanding soccer, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in that span. You picked up 21 points since July, 24 of a possible, I don't even know. I don't feel like doing the math. Point is, it's been a really great run. Some of that having to do with the ability of Andre Franco, but a lot of it having to do with Jay Davila coming into his own, with Philip Zinkernagel being Philip Zinkernagel. Tim, I talked a lot about Bamba earlier. I texted you about it during the game. Like, outstanding performance from him yet again. Yeah, it's I mean, it's everybody, right? It's hard to pick one guy.
And the thing with Bamba, though, is like the thing that's been, I think, frustrating to fans as well as everyone else is that it just feels like there is so much more that it's just waiting to get unlocked.
100%. Well, and we talked. I don't remember if you were on or not. Like, he's at 15 goal contributions this year. He's 10 assists. Granted, it's 10 MLS assists, but that's always kind of what his underlying stats were. He's the guy who makes the pass to the pass. Ulare, Sid Weisen, or Hell been playing lately. He has been having a really good year, I think, especially for what you expect from him. But frankly, he's not as good as Andre Franco. He's not as good as Jay Davila. Granted, they're two different roles, and he's probably not as good as Brian Gutierrez.
I mean, and like that's sort of where Franco was when he was at Porto, right? And like, so it's a different scale, obviously. Like the Chicago Fire are not going to be Porto.
We are the Giants of Portugal.
Yes, that's um, literally it'd be like half the population of Portugal. But like it's sorry, just think a quick message and but like it says something about how ready he was when he was called upon, right? Like having those first minutes and then not having any minutes for 2 seasons and then coming in and progressing a lot. And I think there's still more for him to grow. He looked like he gained about 20 pounds when I saw him for the first time this year in training back in February. And I mean, he's still kind of bulking up and growing muscle and stuff like that. And that'll be big because like when you look at what sort of he doesn't do and the reason that he is not a far more valued player and hasn't been for a while, it's not what he can do with the ball. It's that you can like blow really hard in his direction and knock him over, which means that he's not going to really be able to do the defensive things you need a midfielder to do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I do we think he can play in the same position as Davila? No. Right. Just gonna
that's exactly what I think. That's exactly what we're talking about here, right? Like if you look at his defensive numbers, like he defends
he's good
like, worse than Lionel Messi, and that's for very different reasons, right?
I mean, I think the thing about Sergio, he obviously, Tim, you were talking about needs to get stronger. Like, he's very strong on the ball in a lot of ways. He's not easy to dispossess, but like, we have to remember he's never played first team soccer before, and he's played a lot this year. So A, his body isn't quite used to it. B, he doesn't have a wealth of experience to draw on, right? Like this is still new territory for him. It's part of the reason I was surprised he wasn't on the U20 youth national team. Craig
and
saying
I think that goes a little bit towards all of what we're saying here, right? Like he has the talent on the ball. I think that for being on that specific team, the coaching and philosophy changed. He did really well in the time when Greg Berhalter was in charge of the U.S. men's national team because Greg had all of the youth teams going down, playing in a similar system so that guys would have experience with it going up if that's, where things landed. And more recently, it's been like a little every coach gets to decide what they think is best with their particular group and the skills that they've got and stuff. And one of the things that I think that U20 World Cup team was built for was just if you were going to be a midfielder called into that group, you need to be able to do things on both with and without the ball, and specifically defending. That again, it's just not been something that's been able to do. But it's a lot easier to learn how to do that and to like frankly just physically grow into being able to do that than it is to learn how to be able to advance the ball, be creative, and those things that I think he does have already.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I love Jay. I think we can get 8 figures for him in a couple of years. I would not be surprised if we start hearing about offers for Jay Davila next summer. Tim, I don't know much about Cote d'Ivoire's national team. I think just purely on his physical profile and now he's scoring goals. I don't know if I'm shocked if he gets a look at some point, right? Of just like, hey, here's this insane 21-year-old 6'5" midfielder who can apparently score with his head like it's nobody's business, and play really, really good defensive midfield, right? Like it's.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you obviously are thinking Yaya Toure, right? Like same number. Alex Calabrese has a story I'm in Red 97 about how picking the same numbers, a shout out to him. They are a good, like they have a lot of talent that is coming up, and it's not just guys that are from Cote d'Ivoire, but like guys that are playing for it that have the heritage in different parts of Europe, especially. Um, but he's good enough where you think that he would be getting a call up. Because right now, I mean, the only guy that I can really think of that's like is an attacking midfielder, Ahmad at Manchester United, and like, I mean, different position, right? Different way of playing it. Obviously, they have more midfielders than that.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, Tim, anything else? Matt and I got some time to talk. Anything you wanna bring up about the game this season? Anything like that?
I think just that we had like for weeks we talked about this in the bonfire for weeks and weeks and weeks, wanting to see the team win against a good playoff team. And now we have 3 wins in a row. And in 270 minutes of competitive soccer, the Chicago Fire have not trailed against 3 teams that are going to make it that are like all confirmed to be in the playoffs, right? And so
Mhm.
when you talk about it, the concept of a team peaking at the right time, that's another one of those cliches and sports memes that happen you see way too often. But that's exactly what the Chicago Fire squad is doing. And that is phenomenal, right? Like that's exactly what you want to be seeing. Greg said in the press conference today, when he asked about what the goals were for the playoffs, he said, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think we're going to win the whole thing, but I know that we're going to be there and we're going to compete. And I think that like at this point, you have to take him at his word with that, right? Like, I don't think anyone here thinks that the Fire are not going to compete when they make it in.
100%. And that was Matt and I were talking about like just the possible paths, right? And the thing about the East is like, man, you get past Philly in first round, assuming you're playing the play-in. There's not exactly a world beater out there, right? You lost to NYCFC twice, you lost to Cincinnati twice, and you lost to Nashville twice. I don't think any of those are unwinnable series, and you're probably having to play the back half of that group in the later stages of the bracket, right? You're not getting a Cincinnati or NYCFC if they end up 2 until the Eastern Conference Finals. Should you get past Philadelphia? So yeah,
Right.
I do think
Philly have bullied the Fire around, right? Obviously, like earlier this year, but we also have some evidence of like Bradley Carnell teams not doing as well in the playoffs, and like the Fire are basically the only playoff team that Philly have beat in like forever, you know. So like, and it just feels like a very different team, I think, now than it did when they last played, even though it's only been a couple of months.
Yeah, no, well said. All right, Tim, anything else you want to add? We've been down here for about an hour.
I think so we talked about Franco earlier. We don't have a definitive word yet. It does not look good, and Greg's words, I believe, were potentially terrible news, and he said he literally used the phrase "thoughts and prayers" when describing him. But we don't know yet. We will get that information soon, and when we get it, we'll share it. But,
will you be at training tomorrow?
I will.
Or Thursday?
There's a good chance I will. I'm trying to get an update. Then I don't believe there will be a press conference that day.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
just because of the short week and short turnaround and all that stuff. But we'll try to get an update. We can get updates from the team other ways. And
yeah.
And
Point being, stay tuned to meninred97.com and the socials for more info on the Franco update on Jonathan Dean. Did anybody ask about Dean? Did we get an update there?
Just the update about the +1 that's happening with his family.
Okay, so that to me says maybe it's all good,
or at least significantly better, right? And I think that's the only other thing to say. It's just like we're going to have a lot of coverage over the next few days and few weeks. Some of which has been long planned, some of which is going to be kind of on the fly. So everyone keep your eyes peeled for that. It's going to be a fun few weeks.
Yeah. A couple things we'll leave you with. We'll have like a full breakdown, a normal bonfire episode, recapping this game, previewing the game against Toronto out Thursday, our normal schedule there. So we'll be recording tomorrow night, posting Thursday. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for normal match recaps and stuff. That's where you can stay involved there. We're not going to do lives like this for every single game, but this was a fun opportunity and a fun chance to kind of celebrate the little wins, right? I see ranks in the chat. Any chance we do a watch along for away games? We've talked about it. Depending on how the playoffs shake out, we may have something coming up for that. So if we can, we will. But it's going to depend on what the seating is there. And frankly, we're normal people with real jobs, so we may depend there. But yeah, we're all going to Tim's house. Everybody meet at Tim's house for that wild card game. Yeah, sorry, Tim. I shouldn't say wild card, and you shouldn't say magic numbers. Yeah, so I'd say keep an eye out on the socials on veteran97.com. We'll have the latest on Andre Franco, on Jonathan Dean, on just about anything and everything, all things Chicago Fire as we officially enter the playoffs. It's playoff season, baby. Cool. Any fellas, we are about ready to sign off here. I'll keep an eye on the chat in case anybody asks any last questions, but I think we're wrapping there. So appreciate you guys for joining us here for this impromptu live. Thank you for joining us around the bonfire. For Matt, for Tim, I'm John. I think we're going to sign off. Appreciate y'all being here. Come on, you men in red, and going to the playoffs, baby.